Governor Greg Abbott has signed an executive order that he says will help stop the spread of COVID-19 by restricting the travel of certain migrants. The order gives state troopers the authority to stop and potentially reroute vehicles suspected of transporting immigrants who've recently been released from Customs and Border Protection custody. But critics worry enforcing this order could lead to civil rights violations, and they argue Abbott is just playing politics. Investigator Robert Arnold is live in North Houston now to explain exactly what this order will do. Robert?
There's still a lot of questions as to exactly how state troopers will enforce this new executive order and whether it will leave some immigrants stuck in border communities with no shelter.
There's more questions than answers at this point.
Head of the immigrant rights group, Fiel, Cesar Espinosa, wonders exactly how state troopers will be able to tell if someone in a car, SUV, or bus is an immigrant recently released from Border Patrol custody.
We're concerned that it will lead to racial profiling, that it would lead to just people getting pulled over for no reason.
The governor's order prohibits anyone other than law enforcement from providing ground transport to immigrants caught crossing the border and released from custody. The governor says he's trying to prevent the further spread of COVID and cites rising numbers of the disease in border communities.
We haven't heard what are they going to do with those migrants.
Associate Director for the Center for Mexican American Studies at the University of Houston, Geronimo Cortina.
Usually migrants are released when they have a certain contact, family members, friends that are able to give them shelter until their case is over.
Cortina worries the state has no plans to handle large numbers of immigrants who may be forced to stay in border communities. But Border Patrol has been criticized for not testing immigrants before releasing them. The city of Laredo recently sued the federal government over the release of immigrants, writing, "Many, if not most, go untested and risk spreading the disease." South Texas College of Law constitutional law professor Josh Blackman says depending on how Texas enforces this order, it could be sued by the federal government.
The Biden administration may actually argue that this is a law interfering with federal immigration policy.
Exactly how many immigrants released from Border Patrol custody are testing positive for COVID is very hard to come by since most of that work is done by non-governmental organizations. However, ICE does have statistics on the number of detainees that are testing positive for COVID. And according to ICE, out of the more than 260 detainees tested over the last year and a half, 8.3% have tested positive for COVID. Now, we've been reaching out to the governor's office since yesterday, asking for clarification on exactly how this order will be enforced, and we have not yet received a response. Reporting live from North Houston, Robert Arnold, KPRC 2 News.